house lights are up, the ringing in your ears is just starting to set in, and the show is over. But the night isn't. Welcome to the after party. I'm your host, The Stranger, and you've just stepped into the home of the strange. This is the show where we break down the performances, the crowds, the venues, and everything that happens when live music takes over the room, as well as the emotions that stay with us after it's all over. Tonight, on episode 4 of the after party, we're returning to a beloved venue for my most anticipated show of the year, the Unprocessed Angel Tour, with support from Allt and Midwinter on April 30, 2026 at the Opera House here in Toronto. As I've been saying in previous episodes, my goal with this channel is to bring the live music experience to you through this show and video recordings of the concerts. For the Angel Tour, I have all 3 sets from all 3 bands recorded in full, uncut, and uploaded on the Home of the Strange YouTube channel so you can experience the moments that I'll be referencing during this episode. I used the same setup as last time, but had to mount the tripod on a railing in the mezzanine. A bit sketchy, but it works surprisingly well. To see exactly what I'm talking about, just pause at any moment, go see the live recordings playlist, and follow along. Check out Home of the Strange on Reddit and Instagram to see a somewhat up-to-date calendar of all the concerts I'm going to this year, my vinyl and CD collection, and more cool stuff. If you enjoy this type of content, make sure to subscribe, like, comment with your feedback, and share with someone who loves music. Everyone is welcome to be a resident at the Home of the Strange. Alright, that's enough of that. Let's get into the show. But before we dive into the music, I just want to put a spotlight on the venue itself, the Opera House. This is one of Toronto's most historic venues, opening all the way back in the early 1900s. It hasn't always been a live music venue. It started as a vaudeville theater, transitioning into a cinema at one point to keep up with the times, and finally, in 1989, transforming into the sub-1,000 capacity performing arts stage we know of today. Ever since, it has hosted some of the biggest artists in the world when they were still early in their careers, such as Metallica, Nirvana, Eminem, Foo Fighters, My Chemical Romance, Green Day, Halsey, The Killers, Chappell Roan, and Bring Me the Horizon, just to name a few. Sleep Token's very first performance in Canada was at the Opera House in 2019 as an opener for Issues. I was at that show, which also had Bolivia as an opener, and it was the last concert I went to before the pandemic shut everything down. Seeing Unprocessed here feels like a full circle moment, as it's my first time back at this venue since that show in 2019. Watching shows from the mezzanine at the Opera House is what originally gave me the idea to record full live sets. I remember being at that show and seeing the railing that could hold a gorilla tripod, and it absolutely worked. For this show, I was able to set it up at the very center of the mezzanine at waist levels so it never obstructed anyone's view, including mine. I was also able to play around with the zoom in and out to capture the crowd, but I kinda wish I didn't so much because the autofocus of this phone could not keep up, especially with the rapid flashing lights on stage. It's probably happened to you when you've recorded a show, but you'll see what I mean when you watch these. Anyway, with the phone rigged up and ready to go, all I had to do was hit record as soon as the music started with the first opening band, Midwinter. This is a band I hadn't listened to before, but had heard their name mentioned online a few times. There is just so much music out there that there is not enough time in the day to listen to everything that I might be interested in. There are so many classics I have yet to dive into, and so many new bands that haven't fully come across my radar. Having some of these as openers for artists that I'm already going to see live has always been a great way for me to discover music. I found some awesome artists this way, and I like going into it not having heard their music ahead of time to have the live performance be the first impression I get from them. It's not too often you get to do this. Well, that approach was well worth it for Midwinter because they made a fantastic first impression. The double vocals of Billy Toth and Cody Archer are incredible. I love bands with separate, harsh and clean vocalists that take full advantage of the range of each person, and Midwinter meets that bar. Both of their voices are so expressive with every word they sing and scream, going to far extremes that somehow match and complement each other. That's what captivated me from the get-go, but the rest of the band doesn't fall far behind. They came out crashing with so much force. Classic metalcore with a progressive twist that fits right into this bill. Some highlights for me were for sure Dislocated and Hourglass, which had me sold with those catchy choruses that are stuck in my head. The crowd was fully into this performance too, which is always great to see. By the end of their set, I knew Midwinter was going to be officially on my listening rotation. Can't wait to dive deeper into their discography and hear what they do next. Up next as the direct support was another band I keep seeing brought up online all the time, Allt. All good things. So I was excited to get to see them, and I also went into their set without having heard their music prior, and it was worth it again. The intensity of their songs came into full effect from the beginning of their set with the song Aquila. No wonder this is their most popular song on streaming, because it has everything they offer into one track. A very groovy beat with brutal screams that lead into a powerful chorus. It was performed flawlessly. Robin Malgreen as their vocalist is a stellar frontman, having great control over the various styles that he's able to perform, switching from one to the other on a dime. This is exemplified even more when they played their newest song, Snowblind. It was easily my favorite performance of their set. It's like a popular version of Aquila, leaning even more on a bigger chorus that Robin sings beautifully. The studio version of this song hadn't come out at the time of this show, so I just kept listening to the live recording since that night. The song is out now as a single, and it's so cool to compare how well it translated to a live environment even before it was officially out. I just want to note that although Allt was the direct support, both Midwinter and them had sets of the same length, 30 minutes each, and the stage production was about the same too, with the name of their band on a pretty big screen as the backdrop and stage lights sync to the music. However, Altt's use of the lights was way more blinding, with the backdrop screen completely flashing white at times. I think it fits the music great with those chugging guitars and pumping drums, radiating a powerful energy from the stage. The only issue is that the iPhone I was recording with could not adjust its autofocus properly with so much flashing, but that's nothing to complain about when the entire performance is coming together so well when you experience it in person. The autofocus is on me, so sorry about that. Another notable detail of this performance is that they were playing as a three-piece. They mentioned that their guitarist, Victor Florman, had just become a dad, and that's why he wasn't there. But I see online that they have 5 members, so I don't know where the other one was. Anyway, they sounded great with the setup, with the help of backup tracks, but I would love to see their show with the full lineup someday. Along with the release of Snowblind as a single, Allt just announced their new record coming out in the summer. The live performance had me hooked the entire time, so I've already checked out their back catalog and look forward to the upcoming LP. With the 2 openers done, we're ready to move on to the main event, Unprocessed. I was introduced to Unprocessed in 2023 with their song Die on the Cross of the Martyr, featuring Tim Henson and Scott LePage of Polyphia. I think it came up as a recommendation on YouTube because I was already a big fan of Polyphia since that 2019 show I mentioned earlier. I went back to listen to their discography after that concert and started following their career with every new release. I got to see them headline in October of 2023 for the Remember That You Will Die tour here in Toronto, about a month before Die on the Cross of the Martyr was released. I fell in love with that song immediately when it came out, with 2 very distinct guitar solos from Tim and Scott bringing the full Polyphia energy, combined with these awesome vocals by Manuel Gardner Fernandez and David John Levy from Unprocessed. This track stood out right away as one of the most unique songs I had heard in this style of progressive metal. The aggressive thumping that Unprocessed added to the mix was also something that really captivated me compared to other similar bands, so I knew I had to check out more from them. I didn't wait too long because their album and everything in between came out shortly after that single, so it was the perfect opportunity to jump deeper into that specific sound. The entire record lives up to what that song teased, and it has stayed in constant rotation ever since. I did listen to their previous albums, but didn't fully get into them. They are much longer, with some being over an hour, so it might take more patience for it to click. but not many songs jumped out in the tracklist to keep me engaged. I will say though, the song The Longing from the album Gold is up there with having one of my favorite choruses of their entire discography. As I said in the intro, this was easily my most anticipated show of 2026, mainly because he's one of the artists I'm seeing for the first time ever this year, but also because of how exciting their music is. Unprocessed released their latest LP, Angel, in 2025, which is full of heat, and announced a tour of the same name coming to my city, so the wait was almost over. I was finally gonna get to experience the intensity of the new material and the songs from and everything in between in concert, and hear how the speed and complexity of their music translates to a live environment. Well, let me tell you, it translates even better than I ever imagined. From the moment they took stage and began their set with an extended intro of 111, you knew it was on. That song opening the new album lets you know right away the type of massive energy that Unprocessed is capable of, and it does the same on the live set. It's incredibly fast and heavy while bringing the emotion with the mix of clean and scream vocals from Manuel. That plus the combination of intricate guitar work and chuggy riffs proves that this band can show off their proficiency and still be heavy as fuck without sacrificing the songwriting one bit. Great way to start the show. I love when artists perform 2 or more songs in the same order that appears in the albums, and Unprocessed pulled this off a few times in the setlist. 111 was followed by Sleeping with Ghost and Beyond Heaven's Gate, all great performances in the same order they play in Angel. Then they switched to the opening songs from and everything in between, with Hell and Lore being played back to back. Having these tracks play in this order works so well in the albums, creating some very memorable moments that you begin to anticipate when you listen on your headphones. So it pays off tremendously when bands give those same moments to the audience live. There are so many highlights from this show, but one that I can't skip is David John Levy's performance in Solera. The studio version of this song features the vocalist of Paleface Swiss, but David takes on full vocal duties for this part live. I knew he screamed, but wasn't aware of how awesome he is when given a full part like this. I absolutely loved his entire presence, making him the most entertaining member of the band to watch on stage. I still have to shout out the other 2 guys, Christoph Schultz on guitar and Leon Pfeiffer on drums, helping tie it all together for an incredible package. In terms of stage production, Unprocessed made more use of the stage lighting as well as having different versions of their logo on the backdrop screen to create some really immersive effects. Some great examples being the animation of snow falling on the logo during Snow Lover and the old school 3D version that came on during a few tracks including Sacrifice Me. 2 amazing performances that were enhanced by these subtle details. The crowd was fully engaged with the band from beginning to end. After they crushed the performance of Thrash, they fittingly played a cover of Metallica's Creeping Death, which received a massive response from everyone in the venue. Manuel said that this cover is a hit or miss depending on the city, but Toronto seems to be full of Metallica fans. Even me, who's not that familiar with their entire catalog, really enjoyed this one. I must say though, 10 out of 10 times I would much rather hear them perform another one of their own songs instead of a cover. This makes sense for me when artists are early in their career and don't have many songs out yet, but Unprocessed has a long discography, so I want them to bring as much of it as possible to their live shows. Especially when they only played one song that's not from their last 2 albums, that being Dead Rose during the encore. Speaking of encore, oh my god, I was so happy to see them finish their set with Terrestrial, my favorite track from Angel. It's just an absolute face melter in the best way possible and close the show on the highest note. Skip to this one and you'll see what I mean. I'm so satisfied with this concert. It seemed like the wait between when I first discovered Unprocessed and finally getting to see them live was endless. But it was well worth it when the quality of the show is as good as this. The setlist flowed seamlessly and it kept the energy pumping non-stop. These songs are incredible to begin with, but seeing and hearing the proficiency that all members display on stage is beyond inspiring. I can't wait to see them live again, and of course, I'm really looking forward to hearing whatever they release next. I know it's going to continue to bring the level of innovation they're known for and that we're all craving from this genre. But don't just take my word for it. As I've said before, the whole point of the Home of the Strange is to bring the live music experience directly to you with this show plus recordings of the concerts whenever possible for you to enjoy. If you're this far in and you haven't done so already, go see the live recordings playlist and experience them for yourself. All the links are down in the description below, and the recordings are timestamped for each song so you can jump around to your favorite tracks. Don't forget to share this with someone who loves music. Like, subscribe, leave a comment with your feedback and thoughts about any of the bands we covered today. Have you seen Unprocessed or any of the openers live? What's your favorite song from them? Let me know. And that really brings us to a wrap on this episode of The After Party. But the fun is just getting started. I've been to more concerts since Unprocessed and might end up doing another variety episode of this show to recap them. I went back to the Opera House a couple of weeks after this concert to see the EDM duo Purity Ring for their A Place of My Own tour, and a few days later I saw the salsa legends Grupo Nietzsche at History for the Nietzsche Grupo tour. The full set recordings for both artists are already up on the channel, so be sure to check them out if you're interested. Summer is fast approaching and the 2026 concert season calendar keeps growing, so stay tuned here and follow me on IG and Reddit at Home of the Strange to see where else I'll be this year. If there's a tour coming through North America that you want to see fully recorded and reviewed here, drop a comment below and let me know who I should go see next. Well, that's it for tonight's after party. Thank you all for listening. If you dug this, subscribe, like and share. Go watch those live recordings and leave a comment with your thoughts. I'm The Stranger. Stay strange. I'll see you at the next show.